This is the Stubborn German podcast, coming to you from the always very festive Stubborn German Brewing Company here in beautiful and very fall-esque town of Waterloo, Illinois. I'm Kevin Ostie, joined by the proprietor of the Stubborn German, Mr. Chris Ron.
Kevin, how's it going?
It's fantastic. Listen to this place.
Yeah, it's buzzing.
It is. It's all kinds. And we are joined also by our esteemed producer, Mr. Jared Chasson.
Good evening.
Chasson?
Chasson.
I'm well. Chasson.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. No
Good.
complaints.
Yeah.
The leaves are turning. I'm ready.
Yeah.
All the
nice.
leaves are down.
But it was like 82 today. So.
And the sky is blue, actually, today. So,
Yeah, it was.
Before we really dive into this one, guys, I think it has been brought to my attention that people are, the loyal listeners are becoming aware of our pattern.
The pattern?
Yeah, the pattern of first episode versus second episode.
Oh,
Versus
right.
First versus second. And when we release them, and the relative
Yes.
cognizant coherence of our hosts. And there was a little comment by a loyal listener, namely my wife, who said, hey, that last second episode, what happened there?
Did it fall apart?
Well, it was actually the Oktoberfest
Yeah.
beer tasting episode.
It did fall apart. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. It was a good one.
Just imagine the one we didn't even air.
This is true. There was one, friends, that we saved you all from.
Right.
But the fun thing is, this may be a first or a second. We'll leave it up to you to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know in the comment section.
That's it, right down below.
Wherever that is.
All right. So for the loyal listener, the episodes always start with a real fun game that we all enjoy playing,
Yeah.
the German word of the day.
The German word of the day is langweilig.
Langweilig?
You nailed it.
Langweilig. Is that
Now, what's it mean in English?
right?
Yeah.
Huh.
What does it mean in German?
Right. Langweilig.
Langweilig.
And we don't have a guest to throw to.
No.
Nope.
Langweilig.
I'll go first this time, Kevin. Langweilig.
kind of
Let's
you.
see. I'm going to say,
Good.
I'm trying to think of the theme. What are we talking
Trying to
about?
think of the theme.
Langweilig.
What are we talking about?
This is a tough one.
How about
Not if you know what you're talking about. It's not tough.
we're going to go automotive theme.
Wow.
Lane assist. It's a modern word. They just came up with it in German for the new vehicles.
Funny you say that.
Lane assist.
I was just at home a couple hours ago thinking, I wonder what the German word is for lane assist.
assist.
Yeah,
So,
that's impressive.
Could be.
I think so.
Okay.
Kevin, what you got?
Langweilig. Right?
Yes.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to get it wrong.
Right.
I'm going to say it's a big flower. It's a big violet.
Oh, okay. A large violet, if you will.
See, a long one.
A long one. Yes,
my
a
God.
lang violet.
Okay.
Long stem.
All right. Big
For those
violet.
take it easy,
special
guys.
occasions. So
It doesn't matter what I write.
The at-home players, you can choose between lane assist or big violet.
Yes.
Big violet.
Also put that in the comment below.
Not one of the guests tonight, Big Violet, by the way.
Big violet.
This is starting to sound like show number 2.
Yeah, it sure
Speaking of
is.
Stage 2. Big violet.
Okay.
Well, here we are back at the festive Stubborn German Brewing Company tonight. We're recording this actually on a Tuesday night.
It is, yes.
This place is jumping
It
for a
is,
Tuesday.
right?
It is. I guess there's Queen of Hearts across the
Oh,
road,
yeah.
and so we'll usually have a pretty good spillover crowd from any time there's Queen of Hearts drawing going on. So that's good.
Makes it exciting to come in.
Is that not the
Yeah.
craziest thing? I feel like the last 4 drawings have all started out over $100,000. Like, that's
I know,
just
yeah.
nuts.
Well, I think the last couple people that won were not
They
in
weren't there,
attendance,
yeah.
so then half of the
Split
pot
it.
stays in the pot, and then it starts at whatever 125,000. So
Yeah.
that's
cool.
Kind of
You
crazy.
know, to this day, I still don't know how to play this game.
I only did because it started here, and
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
forced to, if I'm going to explain to people how to play it myself, then yeah.
Are we going to do that right now? Should we explain?
Do you want to?
Not necessarily, but I've played it.
Well, you kind of guess the card, and then
So it all starts with a registration. You have to register. And this
Yes.
goes back years, and they keep your registration on file. So people that registered like 10 years ago or 8, whenever it started, was like, the single digits. My registration's number 12.
Okay.
And they still have
You're number 12?
Well, whatever.
Oh.
On file.
Well, whatever.
I'm saying. And so, but now there's, I don't know how many, tens of thousands of people registered.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then every week, you buy new tickets. Your tickets from last week don't count anymore.
It's $1 a ticket.
$1. Yeah. You
got-
can't afford not to.
And what do they pull your registration number, or what do they do?
You typically
give them
tell
your
them, but they have it
registration
on
number.
file. You can give them your name or
Yeah.
phone number.
But yeah, then basically you each. So you have this. You have a board, right? And the board has all 52, so 54 cards. Jokers are on there too.
Yep.
And each card, it has a random number assigned to it. So it's just miscellaneous.
Yep.
So you pick your number 1 through 54, and you write that on your ticket that you buy, and you turn it in. So when they draw the winner each week out of the hat, they draw one out. So if it happens to be
17.
you, then you come up. If you're there, you come up, and you already wrote your number 17 on that. So they will just, if you're not there, they'll just open up number 17, and if it's Queen of Hearts, you win half the pot since you're not there.
Yeah,
But
it's
if
a game
you-
of chance.
Yes, it is. If you are there, they give you the option to change it if you want. So
Yeah.
if you said 17 at first and
You're
wrote that
feeling
down,
lucky.
and you think, nah, it's actually 16. Mm-hmm. So you switch it to 16, and then you open 16, and it's like a 3 of diamonds or something.
So you would change it because others have already been pulled? Or
It
no?
could be, or just you feel like it. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
definitely.
know.
If you have a card pre-selected that's already been pulled, then they'll just
Then you
automatically give you an option.
All right.
But you might win $250,000 if the pot's that high.
That's a lot of money.
It's not nothing,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's crazy. I mean, if you drive through town on a Tuesday, like really at like 4 o'clock. I mean, it doesn't.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't draw till
They
7, but
start
there's
early, yeah.
there's already people setting up chairs and sitting for the big
Yeah.
pots. But
Well, the big benefit is then they come here
Yeah.
before, during, and after.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the spillover thing is
Yeah,
a real
it's real.
deal. And that's just, this is our place. All the other bars get
Yeah.
a little bump too.
Sure,
So
yeah.
It's a nice thing for the community for sure.
is,
and
yeah.
we thank Outsider and all the crew out over there for putting it on.
yeah, for sure.
Did you ever think about brewing a Queen of Hops or something?
Oh, look at this guy.
When it was here, we did
Queen
brew a
of
beer
Hops.
for it.
Yeah,
when
what was it, dude?
Our I don't even remember. Like it was like Falcon Red Lager or something.
Oh, yeah,
like
that sounds just like it.
Yeah. Well, it benefits the SPPCS.
There you go. Right. The Falcon.
Catholic school.
Falcons,
Falcon
right.
is their
Yeah.
mascot.
No,
So.
it makes sense.
So I made a red
Yeah,
something or other.
red lager.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
delicious.
kind of fun to have that freedom to do whatever you want here, being your place.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's great.
Is it still exciting to come in and do whatever you want?
Let me think. That's a loaded question. Yes, it is. It really is. But yeah, I think that's going to sort of be our topic of the show, Kevin.
Your
We're,
excitement?
My excitement. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like every once in a while you start to kind of like, I don't know. It's a random Tuesday, and you're kind of just beginning of the week. You're kind of everybody goes through. It's mundane, little boring, little lackluster, and you do the same thing each week. Yada yada. Not as much fun. But I don't know. It's also it's exciting to be able to do something that you are really into. And I mean, Kevin, you and I each have, I guess, similar situations. We can't even say where Jared works, so I don't even know if he's in on this.
You
or
don't
not.
know if I'm into it or not.
He might not even work. I really don't know. But I'm in no way saying that everyone out there is gonna, think the same way that you and I are about that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's interesting because there's different levels of being enthusiastic or passionate about what your career is.
Yeah.
And, I think Mike Rowe has said it best. Dirty Jobs, Mike
Yeah,
Rowe,
yeah, uh-huh.
even though I don't remember exactly what he said. But he was talking about how the reward comes largely from getting the job done.
Yeah.
So you can do a dirty job. You can have, or what we, just sometimes call a job that is some kind of a position in life where you know what's expected of you and it's repeated, and maybe you're a piece of a bigger machine, and you might get all the satisfaction in the world about it because you know what you're supposed to do. You're meeting your expectation or exceeding it, and the person before you was doing what they're supposed to do, and the person after you, and the whole place is doing something really great.
And it worked.
And somebody from the outside might say, well, how can you do that same thing all day, every day? And it's like, well, there's more to it than that, even though, the task might be similar.
Right, yeah. It's, and a lot of jobs are probably like that. It's many small tasks that all have to work out just right in order to get the larger mission accomplished.
For sure. And believe me, there are many times when I see people doing jobs and I'm like, I don't know how you could do that all day, just because it's just not what I'm cut out for. But it was funny.
He looked right at me when he said that.
I did.
I saw that, Ken.
I wasn't. Honestly, I just felt that I was talking too much to Chris.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to include you over there.
I appreciate it.
Because you're like way over there today on the other side of the table.
That's just because you sat over here.
Yeah. This is where I normally sit. There's a funny story, though. When I was in college at Illinois State at this point, I was in the communication program, and I went home for the summer, and my local high school had a really strong communication program. So we had a television station, a radio station in the high school, and they were doing a summer broadcasting class. So
they let you high school kids play with that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My first radio thing I was 14.
That's awesome.
I know. And not much has changed. But they asked me to teach. That was a mistake. They're like, can you come in and handle part of this class because you got some experience doing it, blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget, there was a sophomore, so she was 15 maybe, and she thought that television was kind of cool and whatever. And I said, so what's your ultimate job? And I'm expecting her to be like, I want to be an anchor person, or I want to be a reporter or whatever. And she goes, I want to work in a toll booth.
Aim high, everybody.
Well, and it was so funny because around here you don't have the toll booths that I was used to in the Chicago area. A toll booth, just a little box with a gate. And people pull up and they hand you money, and there's not enough time to talk to them. And then they're off, and you're sucking fumes all day. And I'm like, really? You want to work in a toll booth? She's like, oh, that'd be so awesome. And she was like genuinely passionate about it. She's like,
really?
I get my own little space. I know what I got to do. I got to, these people go by. I get to see things happen and
get to see everybody.
Things move around
but
me.
You don't have to talk to anybody.
Right?
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
There are days
she put some thought into that. That's funny.
Well, the other thing is you can't really say much. So
I mean, I can vaguely get into it, but yeah. Well, when you sent this behind the scenes, Chris sent an email with a list, if you can imagine.
Yeah, I did show
things to
prep.
talk
And
about.
I was so proud.
Show
Within
prep.
like 4 minutes, you guys both replied
know,
and
it was
said, I read it all. So
yeah, we lied. But, we replied.
But
the replying was nice.
Something about, how do you stay passionate about your career?
Right.
And I'm like, what am I going to talk about? You got a brewer, bar owner, and a man of so many talents in the classic car industry and entertainment and all that. And I'm like, I'm in IT and, software development. And
so that's our question, Jared. How do you
stay passionate? No, but I honestly did give it some thought, and I was like, okay, I don't hate my job. I like going to work.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Like, how do you stay passionate about that?
What is it about that you like showing?
Yeah, I think it's, and I've kind of always said this, like, you can't look at your job as like this thing. I mean, not that you can't. You don't have to look at your job as a thing that is fulfilling. Like, life can be fulfilling. Your job is just part of that.
Sure.
Your interactions with coworkers or the customer or whatever that might be. Hopefully those are positive. I mean, I hope you don't hate going to work, where you hate your coworkers or whatever.
Yeah.
You need to get into something else, but
Correct.
and so maybe that's just my perspective, is that I don't think of, man, changing this form on this database better fulfill me today. Like, I'm not, that's not what I'm going to work for to seek,
So the actual act of your job isn't necessarily all that
the
exciting.
fulfilling part.
But it's everything around that you do look forward to.
I think
Seeing
so.
coworkers
Yeah.
and
Now, not to get too much into it, but working at the industry that we work in, which is, and this is can be controversial, defense contracting, military stuff, right? So not everybody is supportive of that.
Are you going to have to edit that out?
I might have to. But we do talk about occasionally how the mission, so to speak, of the soldier in the field and the things that we do that
You have a heavy burden.
potentially
Yeah.
save lives,
Yeah.
or assist them in defending our nation or our allies or whatever, right? And so it gets heavy and serious, and you better take it serious when you're doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And so you do remember that sometimes. You're like, this does matter. I'm not just pushing pencils or punching numbers.
So as you get a case of the Mondays, you start
Right.
thinking about that,
You
and
do,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, this is
you
for
gain
real.
perspective
Yeah.
real quick.
The
Yeah.
perspective is gold.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
big thing. When you can understand like what the ramifications are of the decision you're about to make,
Yeah.
and what you're about to do, and how it can affect other people. Yeah, then you feel connected to the big picture, and
Yeah.
now, like you said, it matters. What I like what you're saying is being a career person who isn't necessarily, to use your term, fulfilled by that job. That's a good sign of balance. Like you got
Yeah,
family,
for
and
sure.
you got your music, and you come here, and you
Yeah.
got other stuff going on.
When he said that, I was just like, oh, that sounds nice.
That's what I
Actually.
was thinking too.
Well, I
and-
did watch The Karate Kid when I was growing up. They
Did you
talk
really?
about balance.
Yes, I do.
But
Yeah,
there's
I
days
didn't.
where I wish I was welding the floor pan into a 69 Camaro. That would be pretty
Me too.
cool.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Well, I mean, I think what's interesting is Chris and I both probably have a similar arc where when we started doing what we do, we were hands-on doing the stuff.
Yeah.
And then, fortunately, we both enjoyed enough success to have a place of our own to work at and hire a team and develop new stuff and new beer and everything else,
Yeah.
which starts to bring you away from it.
Yeah,
from
what got you there in the first place.
Yeah, and-
unfortunately,
and
but
into other things that you don't really know a whole lot about.
right.
And so,
But
like,
that's part of the fun. I feel like.
it is part of the fun to a degree.
Yeah.
I can find it frustrating.
Yeah. Same.
Where it's like,
Same.
okay, so I'm a car guy, and I'm here to help people have great times with cool cars. I don't know
Now you're on a
anything
podcast.
about that's fun too, but I don't know anything about business insurance or employee benefits
Right.
or dealing with a bank or any of that kind of stuff. Which thankfully my wife does all of that.
Yeah.
and yours too, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It keeps us out of it.
What is a bank?
For 200, Alex. So I think it's important to remember what it is that you did to get you going in stuff, because you can get way too far removed and just get kind of crotchety.
Right. Exactly. And that's one of our tricks. And I don't know if it's a trick so much as like if Tammy and I are here at the brewery and we're having a case of the Mondays, I think we just kind of get
Drink
bored
beer.
and drink beer.
Yeah, right.
But Tammy will
I've got
start
something for
start wandering through something on her computer, and
Yeah.
I'll look over, and she's just like looking at old pictures, not because like she's trying to like remind herself of something. Usually it's to like make a good Facebook post, but she'll be
Right.
scrolling through something, and then she'll be like, "Oh my God, look at this!" And then we'll kind of go down this rabbit hole of like, "Oh my God, we used to give our homebrew away at Pumpkin Fest to all these people, and create excitement about the brewery, and it
And
was
now they're here.
and now they're here, yeah. And it's just like, and pretty soon, you're in a better mood, and you're just like, I got work to do. Like, this is all good. I'm ready to go. And and we have different. That's happened so many times, but another example, we'll look through pictures of like us doing all the construction in here, and like just some of the worst stuff, like. Digging the trenches in the basement is probably one of my least favorite jobs that we did here. But I've got pictures of us doing that, sweating our butts off, and it's humid and hot, summertime, and it's like, oh God, I can like smell that smell just from this picture, and I can feel that sticky, humidity from that picture. And then, it's just like, I did that. Like, we did that. It's done.
Yep.
It looks great. It's useful now. It's helping us do what we want to do. And, like, the same way, it's like, all right, I'm going to go get something done now.
And that's
So-
the great way to look at it, too. And for us, this is our 20th year in business.
That's awesome.
And it goes by fast. And fortunately, we're still in business, after 20 years. But right now in particular, there's a show coming up in November at the end of the month in Chicago that it's a big muscle car show, the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. And we've been part of this in the past, having a car there, or I do a lot of hosting and stuff there. But talking with the event organizers, and they're like, well, let's have an invitational display of some of the cars you guys have built at the show, right? So we're sending 7 cars.
Nice.
And they're all stuff that we have built going way back.
Throughout
we
the
got
years?
we
That's
got
cool.
one that was finished in 2011, and another one in like 14 and 13, and then up to some recent stuff.
That's awesome.
And well, it was crazy because we decided, hey, let's have all those cars come back to our shop because they live all over the country ahead of the show, so we can do a little show prep detail on them, and if they need anything, we'll take care of maintenance or whatever, and then we'll ship them all up to the show at once. And when these things all started showing up, it was mind-bending. It was
Really?
like, oh my gosh, it was a
nostalgia.
total time work. I'm like, I remember working on this car, when we painted this Camaro overnight, and we were borrowing a paint booth, and so what you're saying, like all the stuff that we do have today, we didn't have it then, and to see, oh, these are legit milestones of how far you've come.
Yeah.
And to
Or
see,
even maybe like now I wouldn't do it this way. I would
For
be
sure.
able to do it this way because we know better now, or we have the
Yep.
capability.
we have
That's
the
awesome.
resources, or we just make different decisions
Sure.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool. But in addition, it was also great to see how good these cars looked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some, yes, from a style standpoint, I mean, they look cool, but they've held up so well.
That's awesome.
And to me, I'm going to be producing a video that, it's a little provocative, but, what's a full restoration look like 5, 10, or 15 years later?
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea. I was just going to say, like, if you buy a brand new car 12, 13, 14 years down the road, like, I think my truck's literally 13 or 14 years old, and it's just, like, beat up, Like,
Yeah, right. Now, some of
does
these,
not
of
look
course,
great.
these were extensive
Sure.
restorations,
Yeah.
and the owners are caring for them. But we do see it where you go to a certain shop, not anyone in particular, but if somebody cuts corners during the process,
In 10 years,
it shows.
you might know, yeah.
Yeah, the paint's peeling
Sure.
and things don't fit anymore and it doesn't run right. We don't have any of that,
That's so
and,
cool.
and I remember having these conversations with some of the owners at the time where they're like, why do you have to sand this again? And why are you using this, sealer in this little crevice? And it's because we want this to you don't want to go through this
Yeah.
again. We're going to make this last.
Yeah.
And I wasn't lying. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool that it was
Yeah.
true.
Do you call them up and say, hey, can we borrow your car for a week? Or how does that go?
For this event?
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing was in an exercise of customer appreciation, and it's really, these are cars that helped us be where we are today, and we had great relationships with the owners. These are cars that got a lot of press, that were looked upon favorably. So we would ask them all, hey, ship them to our shop. We'll do the show prep detail complimentary as a thank you. And then we're shipping them up to the show complimentary, and we're sending them home complimentary.
Nice.
I mean, the shipping bill's ridiculous.
Oh, I bet.
And I'm so happy we're able to do it.
Yeah.
We're in a position that we can do that. And the owners were all just overjoyed, to be able to play along. And then I realized the week before the show, all these cars are still going to be in our shop, and now they're all going to be polished up and looking stellar. So we're having a preferred customer appreciation night
Sweet.
at the shop. So we're inviting current customers who have cars that are still in a million pieces,
Yeah.
and then the ones that have been finished, and some prospects and people in between that we enjoy working
Prospects
with.
that might have like a certain 86 Camaro waiting in the wings to get refinished, right? No? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
That's all right. I don't have that yet.
Yeah.
I'm still looking.
I thought it was going to be a Fiero. But the cool thing is then, for the people that are in the process right now and the car's in a million pieces, and
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to say, well, here, look at this. This is why you hired us. Look at this car. This is what's going
Yeah.
to look like when it's done.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
sure.
It's been real emotional.
I bet.
Surprisingly. So in your case, if you could teleport back and I wouldn't recommend this, but if you could pull out a keg of beer that you brewed, 10 years ago and be like, you try it, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, there's things we did. Well, shoot, we're coming up on 10 years soon. I think nine this coming spring.
Yes. No,
So
no.
we're not-
9-9.
9. Yes. CC. But yeah, there's things process wise and ingredient wise that we used to do when we first opened that we wouldn't dream of doing now. So I mean, those beers.
You should do a throwback beer.
Ew.
How it used to be
Some
made.
throw up beer.
throw up.
Throwback, though. I like that. Just throwing back.
Right.
Just throw. We should do that anyway, but not like an actual throwback.
A throwback, but corrected and improved with time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask both of you. I'm not sure how you measure success. As an outsider, as a customer, basically here, I think of both of your businesses as being very successful. Does that success contribute to the passion that continues, or does that almost make it less passionate? Like you're like, well, we made it to what we thought. How do you rectify that, or do you think you guys are successful?
That's another loaded question. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we see the daily sales numbers and all that stuff. So you can go by that.
Sure.
Were we successful last night or no? Or we had an event but no one showed up for it, so that's not successful. Or the other way around, we did this new thing and everyone wanted it and we didn't make enough of it. So I don't know. In my head, I think success is more like, did people show up? Did people have a good time? And that's all encompassing for me. The beer is just a part of that. The atmosphere, the staff is a huge part of that. So, a successful day or a successful week or month or however you want to, time-wise put it, to me it's more like, have we been busy? Are people having fun when they come in? When I walk through, are people smiling and clinking glasses? And, that's what I want to see. That's really success to me.
Yeah.
Tammy will tell you all the numbers and how this beer does not work and that one does, and this one should be at this time of year and yada yada. And I guess I know a little bit of that myself, but I don't know success is seeing people have fun.
It's tough because there are a bunch of different metrics you can look at.
Right. Well, it's what do you want to measure yourself off of? I guess.
I think. I'll speak for myself. I don't know about Chris, but I never expected to be where we are today.
Oh, same.
Yeah. I mean, when
none of us thought you would get to where you are.
Yeah, I'm
especially
shocked.
my family, my teachers, my town. Nobody did.
Wait, that kid?
Yeah. What? And in fact, when we started our business, it was a completely different business. It was video production and television.
Yeah.
And because we were successful at doing that, it inspired people to call us to have them build cars, and that launched the shop. So it was really not. We didn't.
Wow,
we
I
took
didn't
a big
realize
left
that.
turn. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So back in 2004, we incorporated. It took us till 2005 to get our first television show on the air, which was a cable and satellite channel called the Men's Channel, and then it turned into Men's Outdoors and Recreation. And the show was called V8 TV. And the point was to show the ins and outs of building and restoring cars without the drama nonsense that was getting popular back then. And in order to control the content and do something, we ended up coming to Waterloo because that's where Kelly's family had a farm building that we could use as a shop set kind of thing. And we restored one car that I could shoot the video and produce a TV show telling the story of that car. Never once did I expect. I mean, I didn't think anybody would actually watch the show, but we did pretty good in the ratings, and people would call up and they'd be like, "Hey, I saw you guys build that Camaro. I want one."
Yeah, right.
And then we're like, "Okay, well, there's like 3 of us that work here: my wife and I, and my brother-in-law John, and
so in 4 years we can get you one."
Kelly's family, help out as they can. But it was like, next thing you know, now we got 2 cars showed up, and now we got 4, and then we got to hire somebody, and then we need a place, and then we moved to Redbud, and today we got 32 people on staff.
Wow,
nice.
We got 46 cars in our possession, from
Holy cow.
6 different countries, and so I never would have planned this at all.
Yeah,
and I'm super fortunate that it happened. But interestingly, and I've heard this from other small business owners too, the success metric that I go by is our team happy, healthy, getting paid, taken care of? Do they have a good place to come and work? And do our customers getting a value? Are they getting something they like? And then I kind of do anything and everything I can to just ensure that stuff's happening.
That happens all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I guess before I was my wife and I were small business owners, you would look at somebody who's like, oh, that guy owns a bait shop, or that dude owns a restaurant or whatever. And you get this image because I think our country cultivates an image of business owners and then corporations that isn't necessarily accurate, and they think, hey, You want to work your own hours and be your own boss and make all the decisions and have all kinds of money and all the time in the world, start a
Freedom
business.
and- yeah.
That's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
No.
Because, Kelly and I were joking, this is almost the 11th month of this year. We didn't go camping once this whole year. We just did
Yeah.
not have the time. And
Right.
just be, and somebody smarter than I would look at it saying, well, you chose not to go. You could have made the time. The priorities
Sure.
might have been looked at a little differently. And if you went camping, would the place go under? No. So, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you could have done it. Yeah.
But I have this compulsion, and it comes from fear of the unknown. It's like when I look at, in one way, I look around at our business and go, wow, look at we got all this stuff and customers and buildings, all this stuff going on. And then I flip and go, oh my God,
Look at all the stuff we have going on.
we got to keep
Yeah.
all this going somehow, So it's interesting. So that's why I picked up on the balance
Yeah.
concept, because I don't really have much of it. But the flip side is I like what I do.
Right.
And when I'm out at an event somewhere, that is enjoyable too. So it is balanced to a degree, but it's complicated.
The jealousy in me is that when you're out on the road working, and you are working, you're also in LA or Vegas or whatever, and you're at these cool events.
Yeah,
and
it's
like,
still fun.
Yeah, it could be rough. Could be rougher than that, but
It could.
no,
and
I'm
I
just-
know I have it easy compared to most for sure.
Now, do you guys think that? What's the old adage? Love what you do.
And you'll never work a day in your life.
Well, right. But then there's also some people are like, I don't even know if there is a phrase for this, but like, don't take your passion and make it your job, because then you'll hate it.
It's a good way to ruin a hobby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What
No,
do you think of that?
Those are both exactly
Yeah?
true.
Okay.
Yes, yeah,
to
they
me,
are.
anyway.
They are.
I love what I do, and I don't feel like it's a chore to get up and go to work
Yeah.
normally at any point. There's
Yeah.
some times where I'm like, I just don't want to do what I have to do today. It's whatever. Just that happens. But for the most part, I really love doing what I do. So yeah, I don't feel like I, work like when I used to be a mechanic, and that to me got a little bit monotonous. This is I'm more creative, I think, than that. But I think that's what made me a good mechanic in the first place, was I could think outside the box and come to maybe a different or easier way to
You
around.
were tying stuff together with
Oh,
pipe
man,
cleaners
whatever
and
I
like
needed to
whatever
do. Yeah,
creativity.
that's what I did. Duct tape.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
fix it all. But
Duck feathers at one time.
duck feathers,
Yeah.
turkey feathers. It doesn't matter what kind of feathers. I'd fix it all.
Feathers.
But I think you're right. Both those statements are true. But what you find is, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. But unfortunately, you can't always do what you love
Yeah.
in your daily job, whatever. So you just got to get through those. But
Yeah.
I think that's totally true. And the other one about making your hobby your profession can be tricky. And what I've learned is that you can't have too much of a good thing. But if you work in an organization that kind of differentiates those tasks. So, for example, I mentioned before, like dealing with insurance. I don't have to do that part. So therefore, I'm free to do the cool stuff that I like to do.
Yeah.
So I still enjoy doing it. But I'm with Chris. I mean, I wouldn't do anything else. I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I like to do all the time,
Yeah,
as much as I can do,
as much as I can. I know.
which is good.
As out of balance as that is, but
Yeah.
it's same way with us. It's like, oh yeah, so some days I can go home at noon, but like I'm working from noon till 9 o'clock on the computer, or doing other odd things that I'm able to do at home, but it's all for the brewery, like planning events and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So
And your point of when I'm away from the office, it's not a vacation because I'm working, but it is refreshing and
Yeah.
like being on a vacation. So the other day I was talking with my wife, and I said, it just I didn't really grasp onto the concept that I've been there long enough, 20 years now, that I get some decent vacation time, which I've never taken.
in 20 years, you should have some good paid vacation.
I do. It's great. I'm like, you mean to tell me that I can get out of here for 6 weeks, right? How is that?
I'm
I
gone.
I can't even fathom that. It's wow. And there are times when she's like, you should take the day off. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I end up
Go to Stubborn German.
working half the day. I'll bring my laptop to Stubborn and work
Do
from
some
here.
work.
But it's because I dig it. I just like
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not
for sure.
complaining at all. It might sound like it, but I'm not.
Yeah, my first bullet point for how to keep your career or passion in your career was do something awesome as a career. Like if you think it's awesome, do that.
Well, then that is what
That's the
you're
best
going to
way.
do well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's hard to fake it. I mean,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, everyone needs a job, so you got to do something.
Yep.
But it really helps if you're really into what you do.
For sure. I think that makes all kinds of sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to skip to the last bullet point, and we
Go
sort
ahead
of
with
talked
the
on
last
this,
one.
but think of the people that you've affected in a positive
yeah.
way, friends that were made because we brought people together, etc. Now, I'm going to differentiate between the two of you guys and make some assumptions here.
Sure.
So Kevin's got these international customers and customers from all over the U.S. and
Uzbekistan.
probably all walks of life and,
Yeah.
and whatever. But I'm also going to assume not a ton of local Redbud customers coming in and saying, hey, I'm bringing my,
Sure.
Camaro over. Where Chris, on the other hand, has, I would guess,
I rely on the
90%
local-
of your
yeah.
customers are
Yeah,
from
for sure.
Waterloo, and you know half their names, if not more, and
Learning more every day.
right. And so you are either making friends or you already are friends with these people.
Yeah.
So that's got to be pretty different, actually, from your two perspectives.
Yeah,
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
When we moved into our Redbud shop, we just needed a place to work. So we weren't looking to saturate that market of the
Yeah.
Redbud
Sure.
vicinity with restoration work because we knew by the numbers it's just not there. And if we didn't have internet and all the rest of the ways to reach the rest of the world, we couldn't exist. And we do get people that just stop in, which is totally cool. They come by
Yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, you're right. It's disproportionate. Although this region, I'll say, is kind of our local. So we do have
Yeah.
we do have a decent amount from the area, but not necessarily from Redbud.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I say, friends that were made because we brought people together, like, I'm not even talking about, like, my friends.
Right.
I'm talking about,
Sure.
like, I know you two. Like, would you guys
Right.
have met if
Probably
it weren't for
not.
the
Yeah,
brewery?
for you, yeah.
So, I mean, just that kind of thing. Like, I really, really get a kick out of,
Yeah.
like, these people are friends now because, like, they came into our bar, enjoyed a couple beers, and, like, now they literally do things on the weekends. They, invite each other to,
Yeah.
different stuff. I love that. I think that's so cool. I've seen businesses get started at our bar. I've seen other breweries like take shape and get
that's cool.
formed, and
That
we've
is
helped
cool.
them along. That kind of stuff. So that's, I don't know. That's like the most fulfilling, kind of thing to me.
Well, anybody that knows me knows I'm antisocial. Not like in a
You?
freaky, creepy way, but just like I'm not an outgoing
Jared, you're literally talking to two dudes with headphones on and in a cage
in
right
a
now.
cage. I am. We
Yeah,
are
you
in a
couldn't be
cage.
further away from trying to talk to people right now.
So, but yeah, and I, if I never ran into people I knew at the store, that'd be just fine with me or whatever. But when I come in here with a couple friends of mine, they're like, "Man, you know everybody in here." God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Do I? I guess I do."
Maybe kinda.
Yeah, and it is great. Like it does, whether it's an acquaintance or somebody that you only ever see here or whatever, or your best friend that you meet up here. Like,
Sure.
you have created an environment where people feel comfortable and friendly with other people,
Yeah.
and it's cool.
It is cool, and
We lucked into the magic sauce there.
I don't know about luck, but
No,
I
yeah,
don't know about luck, but I mean, it is great when you come in
We
and
guessed.
people know who you are, and there's a sense of community, and
Yeah.
they're already filtered because they're here.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
just walking on the street.
You
So-
already have something in common.
for sure, yeah, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
We've had interesting situations where one of our team members ended up meeting the daughter of a carpenter that was doing work at our shop, and eventually I officiated their wedding.
wow.
And this is what you're saying. The connections, we
Yeah.
call it the butterfly effect.
Yes. Yeah.
Yesterday we were just commenting that if my dad made one different decision, well, actually two. If he made one decision, I wouldn't be here at all. But if he made another one, I wouldn't be here either. And it came down to what car he bought in 1962. If he bought the Ford over the Chevy or the Chevy over the Ford, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Really?
Yeah, we can trace it that far back.
That's
in
cool.
a straight line. It's a long thing, and so you don't know when the decision you're making right now is going to have meaningful impacts on everything else. And over the years, like I said, we got 32, 33 people on staff now. we've employed over 100 easily. You have too,
Total,
probably.
sure. Yeah,
end to
maybe.
end.
Yeah, maybe.
Pretty close. Just
I would guess
part-timers,
around that.
bartenders, people,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
So every one of those people have some kind of experience that happened from this.
Yeah.
Right. And you're a little part of their lives. Hope you can live with that.
A very little part.
You never know. I mean, definitely a big part of a lot of them. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
A lot of businesses don't have that impact on stuff.
Sure.
The laundromat. Well, maybe the laundromat would, but
You never know. Maybe.
And we see just on Main Street here, we see a lot of businesses come and go.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys have been around 8 years, going on 9, 20 years for Kevin, that is not typical, I think. So that says something about you're doing something with your career is going the right way.
I've always used to say we were just too dumb to quit.
I was going to say the same thing.
Right? We just keep showing up.
I just keep showing up. This is what I do.
Now, you talked about passion for your career, and a lot of times we think of career advancement or career development. And Kevin, we've sort of seen and heard that transition from step to step in his career. But I feel like the next step for you, Chris, is franchising.
Ooh.
Franchising.
Oh boy!
Like
He's-
buying a
you're-
McDonald's franchise?
No, like
You're lucky you're
another-
on the other side of the table over there.
A White Castle?
You need another stubborn German.
Oh, no, I do not.
Stubborn German
Oh,
West or
stubborn
whatever.
German West. No, I don't.
Franchise, come on.
Doing
think I
south,
do.
done by me.
Career, yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I would never, ever do
He's
that.
making faces like, are you serious?
But if you're interested in a stubborn German
Right.
franchise, please email.
Send $9.95 for your free brochure. That's a challenge, man, because like you said before, the secret sauce is in this building, and how do you replicate that?
That's it. I
And
don't
do
know
you
how
want
you
to?
would- Yeah, it'd be crazy. I don't know if you could. I mean, maybe.
Do you guys, both being local to this area, do you remember Fantasy Jim and I think it was Fantasy Motorsports? He was out of St. Louis, and he would do like window tinting and body kits and wheels and stuff in the 80s and 90s.
Was it Fantasy Coachworks?
Fantasy Coachworks.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Owned by
Yes.
Fantasy Jim with the orange van. I don't know if you remember that story.
No,
Fantasy,
but I remember the name.
Yeah, Fantasy Coachworks. Well, I was the guy that owns it. His name is Jim Smoot. Fantasy Jim is his nickname. And
Got it.
I was talking with him last weekend, and at one point he went from 1 to I think 38 stores in 8 states in 2 years.
Whoa.
He said, and then it all exploded
bet.
or imploded.
You're right.
Just because that's a dangerous game if you don't have it down. You don't know what you're doing.
sure.
You know?
I mean, sometimes I feel like I barely have control here. I
Exactly.
just can't imagine one more of these. Just even one more.
Yeah. Well, and it gets into building the team that understands the policies, procedures, and you can replicate it.
Right.
And
It would have to, for me, it would have to be like, okay, thanks for the cash. Here is the logo. Here are some recipes.
There you go.
Please don't screw this up.
Yep.
for sure. And I think
I'll stop in once a month.
I don't have expertise in it, but if you chose to do another one, you would have to do it close enough to where you could
Right.
move the same staff some nights over there and some over here
Yeah.
to train them and dip them in the
Cross.
secret sauce.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
It's a lot. I don't know, these people that can do that, in the car industry, and you'll see it in other industries too, but there's a lot of these private equity firms that are buying up companies that make stuff, and they pool them under this giant corporation that now owns all these brands.
Sure.
There's one company in particular, they've got 75 different brands now, and unfortunately what they do is they buy them, and then part of the buy is they buy the brewery from Chris, and then Chris goes home. And now they run the brewery.
Yeah.
Well, they don't run it the way Chris did.
Right.
So then the brewery tanks.
Right.
Yeah.
And now the whole thing is a waste. And then Chris is at home with a whole bunch of money from selling the brewery, but he's like, damn it. Everything I worked for is gone.
Chris is like, how much money?
So I can never quit? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you got to keep the people in that know how to do it.
That leads to my
Yeah.
next question. Is there a point where you're so successful that you don't work here, where you just own it and stay
I
home?
hope so.
Well, I mean, not that you don't work, but where you don't come in and brew or manage. You just you hire a manager, you hire brewers, and you just kind of stay home and come visit every once in a while. Or you don't show up to conventions and car shows. You send somebody else, and you just
I think
You wouldn't want... this is a loaded question, I'm assuming.
no,
Yeah,
I think
yet-
the phrase,
yet another one.
the phrase is, can you get to the point where you do it just because you want to?
Yeah.
You don't have to anymore, right? You don't have to show up and do the work. You can stop in, and if you want to hang out, if you want to see how the brewing process is going, you can. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. If you want to go fishing or whatever. And I know a lot of people that got to that point of their career to where, in the back somewhere is their old office, and everybody just kind of walks past it. And it's like, is the old man in? Yeah, he's here twice this week, whatever.
Yeah.
What's he doing? I don't know. Leave him alone. They don't go away.
Yeah.
They still like to hang out because this is their connection.
They're still in the building, but
Yeah.
maybe not as hands-on. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool, and to me, that gets to a point of doing, like, maybe we do some very special projects that are, like, way out there, that don't have to satisfy the demands of kind of a mainstream thing,
Yeah.
So you might start making chocolate over there or something. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with an analogy.
We're going to make fudge.
Yes. Here we go.
So fun.
Pound fudge over there. But I don't see retiring in the traditional sense. It'd be
Right.
like, here's your gold watch, going home, goodbye. I think I'm just, and him probably too, just too much personally invested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Anytime I think about, the R word, that's retirement, Kevin.
The R word. Here you go. The other R word.
The R word. Yeah.
Retirement.
Yeah. I'm always just, I'm like, I don't know how that could work. I don't know.
But my
So
wife,
if you have ideas, let me know.
yeah, my wife is smart enough to have been building a succession plan.
Oh, yeah?
And not just in the event that we retire, but she's very blunt about things and points out that her and I could be on a plane to Vegas and something could go wrong. And somebody needs to...
Hopefully it's a plane home from Vegas.
Yeah, right. Well, we want to make sure that the team has a livelihood and their careers continue on, if we're there or not. So that's important to
Things
figure out a
could still
succession plan.
Keep rolling, yeah.
Yeah, you got to
That's
work
cool.
with the legal team and the insurance people and the team leaders and whoever you have, as management or whatever, so they know, can this continue without you?
I'm pretty sure Jeremy and Steve and Josh and Andrew would still keep making beer, whether I was here or not.
Yeah.
Did you ever ask them?
No.
Did you ever ask them what would happen the day after?
It's
If
getting
I
dark.
croak tomorrow, what would you do?
It's an interesting question.
I'm going to ask them.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we did, and we went through a bunch of different models. It's like, okay, well, who's going to own this place
Yeah.
and how?
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't have it set up to where we don't have kids, so somebody's not going to inherit our business. So does it go up for sale? Does it go to? Do they
I'll
split
take
it?
it. All right.
I
And
would
then,
do it.
meet your new boss, Jared. These are concerns that they're questions that you get to a point of the business when you go, we should probably figure this out.
Right.
And then it just takes pressure off. If you get that set up, so like right now, our attorney's got all the paperwork, and if something does happen,
Just fire it off. And
they're taken care of. They know where to contact and what to do the next day.
It is interesting you're saying that. This is
Yeah.
something you think about with your family. You want
Yeah.
to make sure your family's taken care
For sure,
of and all
right.
that. This is your second family. These are people
Really
who
is.
depend on you and you count on them. And
yeah,
it's
for sure.
interesting. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I don't look at it as a morbid thing at all. This is just
Yeah.
part of the structure of keeping, again,
Yeah.
my motivation of keeping people employed and having them do what they love to do and
Yeah.
facilitate that. I don't want to stand in the way of that.
I would just need to make sure that someone's making alt beer.
There you go. We can write.
We'll make
you need
sure.
to write that on the wall somewhere. It's
Guaranteed.
Altil will always be made here.
Whether I'm alive or not, damn it.
I'm pretty sure the U.S. government will be just fine without me. So
Yeah, you don't have that
know.
problem so much.
I don't need to set anybody up.
There's plenty of other Jareds out there.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
but
there aren't.
it's
You
kind of
know,
funny
depending
though.
on when you're listening to this, President
Whoever-
Trump or Harris,
Yeah,
we don't know.
There was a time I remember sitting. It wasn't a Starbucks, but it was a coffee shop, and the differentiation was it wasn't as like fancy schmance as a Starbucks where you had to know all the terminology.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just order a cup of coffee and they give you a cup
Yeah.
of coffee, And guy shows up and he pulls out $4 and says, "I want a cup of coffee," and they pour it and they hand it to him and they take his $4 and he leaves. And then the next one and the next one and I said, there are times when I really love that. I would really want that simplicity of just,
Yeah.
here's the money, here's the coffee, you're happy, I'm happy, we're done.
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to a process in our world where it could be 3 years worth of
Right.
decisions that need to be made and communication and relationships. And I love that too, but, I guess you always see the other parts of things that you kind of dig and go, yeah, it'd be cool if we could do a little bit more of that, but I don't know.
On the other hand, they have to sell one cup of coffee to that same person, every day of the year in order to make similar money to
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
profit margins, and probably year after year after year.
Yeah. And believe me, that business has its set of challenges too,
When it's easy to flake and go, I'm going to go get coffee over here today, or I'm going to switch to Folgers at home.
Well, and so to a degree, you have that here because people
Oh,
order
yeah.
a beer and you fill the glass and,
Yeah,
because not everybody is involved with the higher level, the brewing and all the rest. How many of your bartenders get involved with the bigger parts of the process here?
As far as like brewing, or you
I think
mean
they get involved with events quite a bit.
events, yeah, for sure. I'd say, a few, a handful. I'd say the majority of the bartenders. This is pretty much just like a 1 to 2 weekend a month kind of a part-time job sort of thing. Just
Nice.
way to earn a little extra cash, have a little
Definitely
fun.
had over the years several bartenders have brewed a batch of
Oh
something.
yeah,
and-
yeah, absolutely. And a lot of our ideas for beers in the brewery come
Yeah.
from staff. Like
Yeah.
someone will say either hey, I heard of this beer, or I think it'd be cool to make something like this, but like that. So we should try, or maybe you should think about this. And
Have you tried making good beer?
yeah,
Oh, we took that into consideration.
yeah, we'll try tomorrow. Or they'll hear from customers,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, they're the
customers
frontline
or-
market research right
yeah,
there.
oh
yeah.
yeah. So when they're talking, I'm listening for sure.
No, you're not.
I'm listening.
You're hearing.
I
You're
might
not
not.
listening.
I might not do it, but I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what good beer is.
You just keep selling the alt beer.
That's it. They will learn to love it.
Yes, force it down their throat.
That's funny. But that provides, the term is buy-in, of course. If your support staff has a say in what you're making or what it's called or whatever, that makes it fun. And I love, when we talk about keeping the passion up, if they're here a couple weekends a month, that's a taste. That's just coming in for a good time.
Yeah,
That's,
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Which it's honestly it's perfect though, because you want your bartender to not be I've been here
Burdened.
for 4 days this week already, and I got to make another dang Bloody Mary. Like these people are I haven't made a Bloody Mary in 2 weeks. Let's do it.
Get a bunch of Mo Seaslicks here.
Well, I know we're almost wrapping this up, and we could have had them both on. Are your wives both fulfilled by the jobs that they have here at V8 and Stubborn?
I think Tammy has less fun than I have.
Okay.
Honestly, but God bless her, and she does the things that have to be done in order to keep the wheels, in motion. Where I guess what I do is also necessary to keep the wheels in motion. So,
She is equally appreciated, though, by, I have to
Absolutely.
assume,
100%.
all
Yeah.
of your customers. Yeah.
Yes. When she's here, people are happy to see her. She does a great job, and she's very good at it. She's organized, and
Well, so much of what goes on here are the events and the merchandise
Yeah.
and
Yes.
the organization
Yeah.
of things and the partnerships with other
Right.
brands and companies and stuff.
And
so
if
that's
anything, I
that's
think
Tammy.
she strives to do such a great job with all of that stuff that you just said that I think sometimes she can get a little overwhelmed with,
Yeah.
I've got 100 emails of just all this crap, and that's just to get, bingo and T-shirts going or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm working on this week, and it's like this shouldn't have to be this crazy to, and she has help with that now, and
Sure.
luckily we've been doing it long enough where it's
Yeah.
like there are some more systems in place to make things easier and all that.
Yeah.
Liz helps a ton with some of that stuff too. So we have help, and she has help.
Yeah.
But I think if anything, the thing that she doesn't enjoy is some of that. Like she wants the box of T-shirts to just show up. Like
And,
okay,
don't
now,
want the BS in the middle.
yeah, exactly. I don't want to have to choose the 10 colors and the design and the.
Yeah.
Though I got to say, the women's shirts for Stubborn Fest were
a
hit.
Yes.
Like, those were great.
Yep. She knocked that out of the park. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about Kelly? She's hands-on and everything at the shop.
She really is, and so Kelly is not complacent in any stretch. She has to keep going.
Yeah.
Just her nature to let's do something better. Let's do something, bigger and more. Not just to do it bigger and better, but because the results of that can provide more for the team and more for the customers and everything else. So I think she's learned that by putting in the effort and learning a different skill or growing in some way, that those results are measurable, and she likes that. So she loves a challenge. So, but at the same time, there are things that she does, a lot of that she doesn't want to do, but understands they got to get done.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm the same way. But when I look at some of the tasks that she does, again, with regard to payroll and things like that, I can't handle it. My mind doesn't go there. And she might hate it too, but she gets through it and gets it done right. I wouldn't say doesn't hate it, but it's not her favorite thing to do for sure.
Right.
But when she's able to work with the team and figure out a new process or some new equipment or some kind of thing and sees it working and doing what it's supposed to do and seeing the result.
Making things better.
Yep.
Like, literally,
that's kind of her fuel,
That's cool.
And especially when the crew is comfortable. So when the crew knows we got plenty of work to do, I know I'm going to get paid, I know that I've got good benefits, I know I got a safe place to work, I know that the place is clean and I can be proud of where I'm at, that's the big payoff there.
Yeah,
for
awesome.
both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It is, man. It's, again, I never would have expected to ever be in this position. And I'm so fortunate and grateful to be in that it takes these conversations to kind of remind you sometimes. It's like, damn.
Yeah, exactly. Like, did we really come that far?
Right.
Well, our listeners appreciate what you guys do. I know they love coming here to the brewery.
For sure. They appreciate
And,
what he does, for sure.
Yeah, and I know your customers appreciate what you're doing for them.
We hope so.
That's a typically very emotional, deep-rooted family thing a lot of times. This is my dad's car, or this was my favorite thing growing up. So I know you guys are touching your customers in that way. But what they really care about the most
Very nice.
is
doubt
the
it.
German word of the day.
I doubt it. Oh, you must mean langweilig.
That's correct.
Langweilig. Jared said that means lane assist, like on a vehicle.
Right.
Do you want to change that, or are you still
I
good
feel
with
like it's a solid answer.
Okay,
I think so, too.
Just curious if, an hour went by and you
Thanks for
decided.
the opportunity, but
Kevin says it means a big violet.
Definitely.
Still good with that?
Big.
Yeah.
Okay. Langweilig, if you would say that your job is boring in German, you would say my job is langweilig.
really boring.
Boring.
Okay.
Wow.
I see.
Germans get bored, huh?
I guess. I don't know.
Langweilig. It's the first word he thought of when he was getting ready to podcast.
Yeah, it's like,
Boring.
if I don't come up with something awesome, this is going to be so langweilig.
Another Langweilig episode of the Stubborn German Podcast. Yeah, great. Well, this was an interesting episode. Made me think a little bit, about stuff that I normally don't come here and think about. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Made me really appreciate my wife for sure, and all the stuff that she does day in and day out. Couldn't do any of this stuff. People say that couldn't do it without you, but for reals, no way.
I know, right? I know. I'm like, that is like so true.
What's interesting is Tammy and Kelly both went out for breakfast fairly recently,
right,
and
not long ago.
yeah, they probably weren't talking about us. So.
I
Or
doubt
maybe
it.
they were.
I hope not.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, you want to hit that subscribe button, because then the next one will somehow magically appear in your inbox. And don't forget to comment on whatever Chris said earlier.
Yes.
Yes, in the thing below, because
that
he
one
reads
thing.
every one of them. Make it a list and he'll
Everyone.
read it.
Everyone.
A list of comments.
Well, yeah, that would get my attention for sure. Like, ooh, what's that?
Absolutely.
List?
So there you have it. I don't know if it was an episode number 1 or 2, but we will find out later. And for Mr. Jared Chasson, Chris Ron, I'm Kevin Ostie saying, Prost. Meine 17.
We are recording. That was in Chicago. Now we're recording.
Okay, now we're recording.
That was pretty hot in my
Oh, is it hot?
head. That part was. I can.
They do say I'm pretty hot.
They do
Can you hear me, Kevin?
always. don't need even the anything. I just hear you.
I just
Did you hear
always
that?
hear you.
That was Chris.
Always. Did you catch the? So episode 1, we're going to release second.
Right.
So we have to pretend like
I think if we're half drunk with the how to stay passionate about your career topic,
right.
I'm always drunk with that.
we might make everyone quit their jobs.
Half drunk.
We might encourage some things that we shouldn't.
Oh man.
So we should just start with that and just we'll just pretend like we've been podcasting forever,
Right.
And the next one we'll catch up.
All right. Well, here we go.
Oh crap! Hold on.
I was just going to ask. Do you
man.
have your
No,
word
it's
of
a
the
weird
day?
one. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
There's a lot of ambiance in here tonight.
There is.
It's good.
That's because Glessner walked in.
He's right. He's gonna get some scotch.
That's his stripper name is Ambiance.
Stage 2, ambiance. Okay, I'm ready.
All right.